Thanks, Deputy Speaker. I'll rise to talk about a couple of issues to do with members of the ADF who've served our nation and have not had the right thing done by them, and then about some firefighters that I want to acknowledge. A couple of days ago there was an opportunity in this chamber to talk about Australian Defence Force training. Now, the debate finished before I had the opportunity to make a contribution, but what I would have said is that our training in the ADF is top-notch, is fantastic, but it doesn't come without its dangers, and even with the risk management that goes on nowadays, and even in the past, accidents do happen, serious accidents. I want to bring to the House's attention a serious injury that happened to one of my soldiers when I was in Malaysia on Rifle Company Butterworth. Darren Hazy, fantastic bloke, but he received a serious injury, and this was 1994. And since 1994, Hazy's been in a wheelchair. He had serious head injuries as well. He died a couple of times during the evacuation and was brought back. And I have been working with his advocates to get him a gold card. You're seriously injured in the service of our country during training, and you would think that they'd be well looked after.
Indeed.
Unfortunately for Hazy, his accident occurred a couple of months after a change in legislation, which has meant that he hasn't been able to receive a gold card, which might be unbelievable to those listening, that someone with a serious back injury that resulted in them not being able to use their legs in 1994, that they would receive a gold card. What I've asked successive Veterans Affairs Ministers to do is use their discretion, because as time goes on, there will be further complications that Hazy needs to be able to just go to a medical professional and get the support that he needs. But for whatever reason, DVA and the Minister haven't been able to make that occur, and I appeal to the latest Veterans Affairs Minister in this government to use his discretion. And if it is that a gold card can't be given, then a white card be given, which Hazy's already got, but that has all conditions on it. Because Hazy is not going to the doctor to get unnecessary treatments. It's treatment that he needs as a result of his service. Now, he's had a Subaru, a vehicle to get around with modifications so he can drive it with his hands, and he's had that vehicle for over 20 years now, and Subis are good vehicles and they do well. But the Subi is clapped out. He told me the other day it's no longer safe to drive. So we want to get Hazy a new vehicle so he's got mobility so he can get to his medical appointments. But DVA has been faffing around with this for over a year. The new person managing his case says that, we'll look around and see what we can do. Back when the accident happened and Hazy needed a vehicle, Defence actually paid for it rather than DVA. Now, DVA have said that they will pay for the modifications to the vehicle to allow it to be driven by hand. They won't pay for the vehicle, but they'll pay for modifications. Now, if his accident had happened 3 months earlier, they would have given him $39,810 towards a new vehicle. But because it happened 3 months after a change in legislation, he has to buy the vehicle. Mind you, he's still getting compensated the same amount that he was getting when he was a a young soldier. So it hasn't kept up with the career progression that he would have had if it wasn't for the accident. So if anyone's listening to this and they own a Subaru dealership, he's after an Outback. And a Subaru Outback at the moment is $39,990. DVA will pay for the modifications but not for the vehicle, because he broke his back 3 months after a change in legislation and ministers haven't been able to see their way clear to make a determination for this Australian soldier. So the battle with Hazy, with his advocates, and I thank them, Peter and Andrew, will continue. One of my constituents is a veteran firefighter, Andrew Innes, 18 years in the force. A lot of firefighters get cancer. So Andrew got leukaemia, and then he was fighting that, and he was helped through workers' compensation during that fight. But then it came to a point where he was going to have to, they encourage people on workers' compensation to return to the workforce. So he worked really hard, and he probably didn't rest as much as he could have during his chemo, and actually set him back a bit, and he got another cancer in his throat. And so he's fighting that, and I'm working with him and the NT government, who have done fantastic work bringing in compensation for these firefighters, because they all get cancer. They don't all get cancer, a lot of them do, because of their workplace. And we owe it to those who sign up to protect our country and our community. We owe them a bit better than that. So we want to be doing everything that we possibly can when those who serve our country and our community are in the fight of their lives. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to send a message of solidarity to all those Australians who are in the fight against cancer. During COVID, people haven't been getting their tests as much as they should. So get your tests. Like some of the cancers and the reasons for them are linked to workplace issues. Some of them are genetic. But get your tests. Make sure that with our focus on COVID, we don't lose sight of the importance of getting all those tests, whether it be breast cancer screening, or when you turn 50, which I just did the other day, getting a bowel cancer test. It's important. So I want to send that message of support to Drew, who's fighting cancer, and thank him for his work as a territory firefighter. And I also want to send a message of solidarity to my uncle, Ray Wellard, who is a former member of the Metropolitan Fire Brigade in Melbourne. So he's fighting cancer. And my mum, Chris, was only visiting her beloved brother 2 weeks ago. And Ray was frailer, she said, battling cancer. But he was walking and eating again, and the pain was under control. He's now settled into hospice care. So many Australian families have been through this journey where, there can be that rapid, that rapid dive when fighting cancer. And for family members, they wonder whether there'll be a final chance to say goodbye. So if I can't, mate, I just wanted to say you're a champion. You're a great bloke. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my Uncle Ray's been resilient his whole life. When our mum, Nana, had Ray in hospital in Melbourne, the doctor said, your son's not going to make it. He's not going to get out of this hospital. Such were the health challenges he had at birth. But he had so many surgeries. He served with the Metropolitan Fire Brigade. He lived for 76 years. He had 2 kids, Dana and Paul. He lived a great life. He was a great uncle. We did so many good things with you, mate. Ferreting, spearfishing. We had a great life growing up with you as a great uncle. So God bless you, mate. Go well, Ray, in this battle against cancer. We're all with you. Good on you, mate.
I thank the member for Solomon. I'm sure your uncle would be very proud of you.